Baines Johnson, a Democrat, served as president from the years 1963 to 1969. For those who can't do the math quickly, that's 6 years. He spent the years 1961 and 1962 as Kennedy's vice president, but when Kennedy was assassinated, Johnson took over. Before becoming vice president, he served in the House and in the Senate. Alright, so, before going over the economic stuff, I'll first explain what Johnson did as president. Johnson put his plans for a great society into action. He wanted to eliminate poverty. To do so, he created a centralized welfare state, which didn't work out so well, and gave needed assistance to millions of Americans who had previously been forgotten about or ignored, which did work out well. He enacted the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. He also allowed the U.S. to go further in space exploration. The only known real alien is named after him. His name is Baines.
I came to the land of the dinosaurs and I parked my time machine behind the biggest tree that I could see. I walked until my feet got sore. I set up my small tent and I camped on the floor. Dinosaurs go roar. Dinosaurs go roar.
The largest international affair that Johnson had to go through was the Vietnam War. This drove down his popularity. Now listen, because this is one of the important parts. Johnson also increased government spending and cut taxes. One chant that was used by anti-war protesters was, "Hey, hey, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today?"
Dinosaurs go.
Moving on to the economy, which is no doubt the most interesting part of the entire presentation. Excuse me. Oh, on a random note, William McChesney Martin Jr. was chair of the Federal Reserve during Johnson's tenure. His name for the duration of the presentation, though he's only mentioned a couple more times towards the end, is Will. I'm now going to show you some numbers. I'll tell you what they mean in a moment, but for now, just pretend you're interested.
1, 2, 3, 4. I went to check out the dinosaurs and I saw a pterodactyl on a volcano. This is what he said when he saw me and oh 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 oh.
Alright, first the CPI and inflation. As you can see, both increased steadily throughout Johnson's presidency. Inflation took a very bad turn in '68, when it hit 4.2%, which is an increase of 1.4% from the previous year. Therefore, as you should be able to assume, Johnson was not doing a very good job of fighting inflation. This is most likely because fighting inflation was not one of his goals. Now, to look at the federal debt. Needless to say, the federal debt is increasing more and more the further into Johnson's term we go. So along with not fighting inflation, we also have a rising federal debt. Get it yet? Alright, so maybe you need a few more clues. Finally, to the unemployment percentage. Unlike inflation and federal debt, unemployment is going down. So what does this all mean? Well, that's what these awesome visual clues are for. We are now going to jump into an elaborate, no-talking, visual aid kind of math problem party thing so that this presentation can be deemed good. Real quick though, I'm going to explain some definitions. Basically, expansionary fiscal policy is when the government decreases taxes and increases government spending in order to get out of a recession and increase employment. Contractionary fiscal policy is when the government increases taxes and cuts government spending in order to stop inflation. Now, expansionary monetary policy is when the Fed increases the money supply by buying bonds, lowering the reserve ratio, lowering the discount rate, and increasing the reserve auctions. This is done for the same reason expansionary fiscal policy is done. Contractionary monetary policy is the inverse of expansionary monetary policy. Alright, to the elaborate math problem. I'm not going to talk for a while, so focus on the words and the visual clues.
Dinosaurs go roar. Everybody knows that. Dinosaurs go roar. Everybody knows that. Dinosaurs go roar.
That's just expansionary fiscal policy. Where does expansionary monetary policy come in? Well, Johnson decided he wanted the Fed to help him out with his lower unemployment goal. So Will was like, ugh, fine, except for in a more manly voice, of course, and told him that he'd work out some expansionary monetary policy actions to increase the money supply. This increased money supply, increased excess reserves, decreased the federal funds rate, lowered interest rates, increased investment, aggregate demand, and equilibrium GDP, and all of that made employment increase. How? More people are able to take loans so that they're able to buy more things and spend more money, which means that jobs are needed, more jobs are needed. Yay! This concludes this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Though if you want to be completely honest, your mind is asleep and you really don't care about anything I just said, or am saying now. Anyways, thanks for watching.